The thing about the wax seals is that they were correct procedure. That is what I need you to understand before anything else. Every step we took on the Aldrich Voss was correct procedure. We followed the manual. We followed it exactly, and 7 people are dead because we did. I have had 11 years to sit with that sentence, and I still cannot make it land any softer. My name is Harlan Sieve. I was a senior quarantine investigator with the Colonial Survey Authority for 19 years before I retired. The Aldrich Voss was a mid-range survey vessel. 4 crew, contracted to the Outer Margin Authority to catalog biological samples from 3 uninhabited candidate worlds. Standard rotation. The kind of posting nobody writes papers about. The kind of posting I had run 41 times before it. We were called aboard at Waystation Cedral, 17 days into the vessel's return leg. Crew had reported an anomaly in the lower hold, a capsule-shaped organism, approximately 40 centimeters in length, translucent amber casing, found adhered to the underside of a sample rack in Bay 3. Not catalogued, not logged in the survey manifest, origin unknown. When we arrived, the crew of 4 was already in soft quarantine in the forward mess. They looked fine, a little shaken, but fine. The hold was sealed. The organism, we could see it through the porthole, had not moved. It sat on the rack exactly where they had described it. Still, closed, apparently inert. We suited up. We went in. I want to be precise about what we found, because the precision matters. There were not 1 but 6 of the capsules. The original crew had seen 1. By the time we entered, there were 6, spaced along the rack at irregular intervals, as though they had budded or divided during the 17-hour transit, from first sighting to our arrival. They were not moving, they were not making any sound. The amber casing on each one had a faint interior luminescence, a pale gold pulse, slow, maybe once every 4 seconds, like something half asleep. My junior investigator, a woman named Petra Wald, said they looked like seed pods. She was not wrong. We photographed them. We logged their positions. We took atmospheric samples, surface swabs from the rack, airborne particulate readings. Everything nominal. The organism, whatever it was not outgassing anything our sensors could detect. Temperature in the hold was within normal range. No anomalous pressure. No chemical signature above baseline. Then we did what the manual says to do. We sealed each capsule individually in a Type 4 sample container. Thick polymer walls, locking lid, rated for biological containment, and we applied a quarantine seal to each lid. The seal is a burgundy wax disc, roughly the diameter of a thumbnail, impressed with a raised case number and the CSA quarantine stamp while the wax is still warm. Standard issue. I had pressed probably 4,000 of them in my career. They take about 90 seconds to fully cure. You peel the backing, center it on the lid, for 5 seconds, and it bonds to the polymer. Simple, unambiguous. The manual requires it for all unclassified biological samples of unknown origin. We sealed all 6 containers. We numbered them sequentially. We stacked them in the containment crate and latched it. Then we went back to the observation port and began our write-up. The first indication that something was wrong came 40 minutes later, when Petrus noticed that 2 of the containers in the crate had shifted. Not fallen, shifted, as though nudged from inside. She flagged it. We went back to the feed from the hold camera. The crate was intact. The lids were on. Nothing appeared to have changed, except that there were now 9 containers in the crate, not 6. I remember the specific, quiet moment when I counted them on the monitor. 6, 7, 8, 9. I counted them 3 times. My mouth was dry. Petra had gone still beside me. We suited back up and went in. The 3 new containers were identical to ours. Same Type 4 polymer, same locking lid, same dimensions. But their seals were different, fresher. The wax on the new ones was the same burgundy color as ours. The impression was wrong. A rough oval rather than the crisp CSA stamp, as though something had pressed a crude approximation of a seal from the inside out. There were no raised case numbers, just the shape, just the color. They had made copies. Not of the containers exactly, but of the signal the containers were broadcasting. And the only thing the containers had done that the bare capsules had not was receive a wax seal. I did not understand it in that moment. I am telling you this now because I have spent 11 years reading everything ever published on hydrocarbon signature, chemotaxis in xenobiological organisms, and I will tell you plainly what was actually happening, which we did not know then. The quarantine wax is a paraffin-based compound. It contains a specific ester chain, a byproduct of the curing process, that the organism read as a host readiness signal. Not the polymer, the metal rack, not our suit materials, not the airborne particulates, not the swab residue, the wax. 4-carbon ester chain present in the curing wax at concentrations of roughly 12 parts per million. Undetectable by our standard sensors, completely within normal atmospheric noise. To us it was a seal. To the organism it was an invitation. Every container we sealed became a beacon. And when the organism responded by producing approximations of the seals, crude wax analog secretions shaped like our stamps, it was not mimicking containment. It was broadcasting the same signal back at us, trying to call more hosts inward. We had sealed 6 containers and created 6 homing signals in a closed hold. When I finally understood what the seals were doing, and I understood it gradually, over the next 2 hours, as more containers appeared and the organism began producing the wax secretion in open air rather than just on the new pods. The hold was already gone is the right word. Not breached, not contaminated, gone. The organism had spread to every surface that had received even trace contact. The cured wax, the containment crate's inner walls, the rack itself where our gloved hands had rested after handling the containers, surface of the evidence tongs. Every place we had worked. The amber casing had dissolved, and what was underneath it was not a single organism but a colony in waiting, and the wax signal had told it the host environment was prepared. We lost Petra at 14:42 when she went back in for the atmospheric monitors. We lost the 2 technical support crew at 15:09 when the SLEAL failed at the lower ventilation junction. We lost the ship's crew in the forward section over the following 4 hours as the colony worked its way through the ducts. I was the last one in the forward airlock. I had 6 unsealed containment discs left in my kit pouch. I had not used them because I had stopped sealing things the moment I understood. I had 1 undried seal left, the last one I had pressed. The one I had been about to apply to the atmospheric monitor casing when Petra went back in. I stopped and looked at the hold camera instead. The wax was still soft. 90 seconds to cure, and I had pressed it maybe 60 seconds prior. I peeled it off the casing I had started to apply it to. I held it between 2 fingers. I could feel it, warm, yielding, the ester chain still off-gassing its 4-carbon signal into the recycled air of the airlock. I pressed it against the outer airlock plate, the exterior-facing wall, the side that vented to vacuum, and I held it there for 5 seconds until it bonded. Then I cycled the airlock. The outer door opened. The airlock vented. The seal went with it. The colony followed the signal out through the open door, across the threshold, and into hard vacuum. I do not know why it followed a single undried seal disc into an airlock, while ignoring the cured seals on the containers. My best theory, after 11 years, is that the curing process locks the ester chain into the wax matrix and reduces outgassing significantly. A cured seal, maybe a tenth the signal output of a fresh one. The undried seal was broadcasting at full strength. In a room where every other signal was faint and locked, the fresh seal was a shout. I told the inquiry board exactly what I have just told you. They did the manual. Section 7, paragraph 14, quarantine seals are prohibited for use with any unclassified xenobiological sample of unknown atmospheric sensitivity pending full outgassing profile analysis. Correct procedure. Exactly what we should have had from the beginning. 7 people. 1 thumbnail-sized disc of burgundy wax. I retired the following spring. I still have one of the old seals in my desk drawer. The last one from that kit pouch, the one I never used. Keep it there because I think it is important to remember that the thing that killed them was not the organism. It was not negligence. It was not a mistake. It was a correct procedure that nobody had ever thought to test.